Welcome back to Tell Me More Stories Told This podcast. Buckle up because today we're diving into the story of someone known worldwide as the King of Pop, Michael Jackson.
You know, it's incredible to think about his impact, not just on music, but on dance, fashion, music videos. He even changed what it means to be a celebrity.
He truly redefined the game. And speaking of redefining, you won't believe this, he bought the entire Beatles catalog.
It's mind-blowing. In 1985, think about it, $47.5 million for almost 4,000 songs, including most of the Beatles' work. Talk about business smarts and a love for music history.
I can't even imagine those negotiations. And speaking of high-profile moments, remember when he married Lisa Marie Presley? The tabloids went crazy.
Oh, absolutely. Pure media frenzy. Was it love? A publicity stunt? Nobody knew for sure. It really shows how much the world was fascinated by Jackson's personal life.
And sometimes, unfortunately, that fascination took a dark turn. Like at the 1996 Brit Awards.
When Jarvis Cocker jumped on stage.
Yeah, Jackson was performing her song, and suddenly...
Chaos. Cocker, the lead singer of Pulp, protesting right in the middle of the performance.
Talk about a strong reaction. Cocker said he objected to Jackson presenting himself in a Christ-like way.
It definitely highlighted how Jackson's image could be controversial. And this wasn't an isolated incident. You know, the media scrutinized his every move constantly. That same year, remember, he married Debbie Rowe.
The dermatology assistant who was pregnant with his child.
Well, exactly.
And speaking of his children, the world was absolutely shocked in 2009 when Jackson passed away. Only 50 years old. Cardiac arrest.
It was a truly tragic and unexpected event. It felt like the whole world stopped. The news spread instantly. Global outpouring of grief. Internet traffic went through the roof.
I remember it vividly. And then, as the details emerged...
It became even more heartbreaking. His death was ruled a homicide.
Caused by a lethal dose of propofol, administered by his own personal physician, Conrad Murray.
It was a dark chapter in a life filled with such incredible highs and devastating lows.
Murray was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. Right.
Yes. He served 2 years in prison.
It makes you think about the immense pressures that come with that level of fame. Before we go any further, if you're enjoying this deep dive into the life of the King of Pop,
make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other amazing stories here on Tell Me More.
We've got so much more to uncover about Michael Jackson's legacy and the impact he had. We'll be back to explore it all after a quick word from our sponsors.
Welcome back to Tell Me More. Before the break, we were talking about Michael Jackson's tragic death and the lasting impact he's had.
And, you know, it's amazing to think about how his music still connects with people all over the world, even today.
It's a testament to his talent, that's for sure. And speaking of talent, let's go back to something we touched on earlier, that Beatles catalog purchase.
Right. That was a brilliant move.
Absolutely. Financially, it was a genius move. He owned a huge part of music history, and those songs still generate income today.
It's like he became the keeper of some of the most iconic songs ever written. Plus, it shows how sharp he was as a businessman.
Yeah, he saw the long-term value of those copyrights. It wasn't just about the money, though. You could feel his genuine passion for the music.
For sure. But we also talked about the downsides of fame, right? How wasn't always easy for him.
Definitely. All that attention, it can be a double-edged sword. Think about that incident with Jarvis Cocker at the Brit Awards. It really highlights that.
Yeah, that was a crazy moment.
Cocker's protest, it was disruptive, but it shows how Jackson's public image could be divisive.
And the tabloids were ruthless, let's be real.
Oh, absolutely. Every relationship, every little thing he did, it was all under a microscope. It makes you wonder how he managed to create anything with all that pressure.
But he did. He kept pushing boundaries with his music, with his performances, and on top of that, he found time for philanthropy.
Right. His humanitarian work often gets overshadowed, but it was important to him.
He was a strong advocate against hunger. He promoted peace. You could tell he really wanted to use his platform to make a difference.
Earth Song is a great example of that. It became this powerful anthem for environmental awareness.
So what do you think made his music so special? What set him apart?
Well, his ability to blend different genres, for one. Pop, soul, funk, rock. He took bits and pieces from everywhere and made it his own.
His vocal range was incredible, too.
Yeah.
He could hit those high notes, but he also had this deep, soulful side to his voice. He could convey so much emotion.
And don't forget about the dancing, the moonwalk, the robot, all of it. He completely revolutionized dance and performance.
In his music videos, they were like mini movies. Storylines, special effects, choreography, he really took them to another level.
He was a master of visual storytelling. Videos like Thriller and Billie Jean, those weren't just promotional tools, they were artistic statements.
And you can still see their influence today. Music videos still borrow from his style.
He set a new standard for music video production, no question. But it's important to remember, as we've discussed, Michael Jackson's story is complicated. There are the controversies, the accusations. It's all part of his legacy, and we can't ignore that.
I think it's about finding that balance. Recognizing his artistry and the good he did, but also acknowledging the difficult parts of his life.
Exactly. It's a complex story, that's for sure. And one that continues to spark debate even today.
Before we wrap up our look at Michael Jackson's life and work,
I think there's one thing we should really emphasize.
even though he's gone,
His music, his influence on pop culture.
it's still incredibly strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how relevant his music still is.
And those music videos played a huge part in that.
Oh yeah, how so?
Well, you gotta remember back then, before MTV and all that, most people discovered music through the radio or maybe saw bands play live.
Makes sense.
But Jackson, he saw that music videos could be so much more. They could tell stories, enhance the music.
And Thriller was like the perfect example of that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That wasn't just a video. It was a whole production, a mini movie, really, with a story, amazing effects, and that incredible choreography. People had never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it was a total game changer. And he kept pushing the boundaries with videos like Billie Jean and Beat It.
Yeah. Each one was an event. And they helped make him a global icon, that's for sure.
And speaking of iconic, his influence on dance is undeniable. I mean, to this day, people are still trying to do the moonwalk.
It's true. That move became a phenomenon overnight, and it's really a perfect example of how he could combine incredible technical skill with pure expression.
I definitely spent some time as a kid trying to figure that one out.
Me too. But it's not just about the moves themselves, it's about that feeling he conveyed. He inspired people to move, to express themselves.
Absolutely. And he wasn't afraid to mix things up. He brought pop and street dance together in a way that felt so new and exciting.
And that's true for his music too, always
Sure.
experimenting, always pushing boundaries.
Yeah, think about it. From the disco vibes of Off the Wall to the harder rock sound of Beat It. He really wasn't afraid to blend genres.
He was a true musical chameleon, always evolving, creating something unique.
So when we look back at Michael Jackson's life and career, what are the key takeaways? What can we learn from his story?
Well, I think it's a powerful reminder of the enduring power of art. Even with all the controversies, the personal struggles, his music continues to connect with people on a deep level.
And it shows us that it's okay to push boundaries, to be creative and try new things, no matter what you do.
Right. And his story, as big as he was, it also shows the downsides of fame. All that pressure, the constant scrutiny.
It's a reminder that even the most famous people are still human. They have struggles too.
Absolutely. It's all about looking at his legacy with nuance, with understanding. We can appreciate his talent and the good he did while still acknowledging the complexities of his life.
Well said. Michael Jackson's story is a fascinating one, full of both triumph and tragedy. And it's a story that people are still talking about today.
He had a profound impact on music, dance, and pop culture as a whole, and his influence will continue to be felt for generations to come.
It's been an incredible journey exploring the life and legacy of the King of Pop. Thanks for joining us on Tell Me More Stories Told His podcast.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive into a captivating story. Until then, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep telling your own stories.